Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, February 22nd. Remember, the markets are closed on Monday for President's Day. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, I first just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you're liking what you see and you want to learn more about this tool, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click on to get signed up. So definitely, like I said, if you're liking what you see, certainly get signed up for the free class. A couple of quick clarification points before I get to the stocks. First off, you're not crazy. This number will still be moving as you watch the video. I'm doing this when the market's still open for a small amount of time, just because sometimes we can capture some late day action, which can be very entertaining and helpful. So yes, the markets are still open for a little bit of time. And then also I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So if you're new to charts, all that means is each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So first one here, ticker symbol PLTR. Did this analysis yesterday. And let me first just extend this trend line out, because you'll see here that, crazy enough, that trend line once again held strong, and you just can't make this stuff up. Like I said, this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video on Thursday. And as a reminder, I'm doing this Friday right before the market closes. But put that trend line into place, and then look at that, the power of charts. Where did the price get rejected from? Right at that level. But that all brings about the same exact pretty much talking points previously of, you got to think, especially after the, this action right here, after the trend line predicted that rejection point, that there's going to be so many more people watching that trend line. And when there's a lot of people watching the same area, wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So while nothing is guaranteed, my point here is this, that it is a more than valid and plausible thought process to have, that if the price were to come up to that trend line and break up through it, that could create some nice upside tradable momentum. Now, I'm not saying the price goes up there and closes the gap or anything like that, but from a trading standpoint, there could certainly be some opportunity there. So that remains the key level of resistance as far as the trend line is concerned. And then as far as the main area of support, that's just a matter of where did the price finally stop today. And several times it got right down around that 1060 mark and did find some buyers down around there. So keep a close eye on that. Next one, HOOK, Hook, and did this one a while ago, but want to get this extended out here because that's also where the first update's going to come. But last time I did it, talked about this area right there being an area of resistance, but you can see right there, opening 30 minutes, price broke up through there, and when the price did break through there, that's where the foundational rule in charting comes into play, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And then wouldn't you know it, again, the power of charts. This is why a quick plug, get signed up for that free class. They're not a perfect tool, nothing is perfect, but they're certainly worthwhile. But like I said, price broke through there, pulled back. What a coincidence, right where the price bounced off of that former resistance, and then up it went from there. So point here being, moving forward, that 222 mark going to be that new level of support. And then as far as levels of resistance are concerned, just a question of getting that area right there. Whoops, let's make this, getting this trend line into play right there, which sits right up around, let's call it $2.60. So 260 will be that next breakout point. But all in all, no doubt about it, very nice way to end the week. Next one here, AMC, and once again, this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched the previous videos, but if you haven't, I've talked about that green line right there at $17.60 being a very important level of support. And to give full credit, credit's due, the price is held very nicely at that level. Now, of course, when the price, pulled back earlier on in the day, not ideal, but at least the price didn't come down to that level of support and then crash down through it. But again, a quick plug for charts. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. This is something that anybody can learn how to do. But like I said, isn't it crazy how that green line, which was put into place before, today even happened, and all of a sudden the price is bouncing around at that level. So, just a great example of charts. And moving forward, 1760 is going to be that main area of support, with the next key level not that far away being the pink line, which is the very famous, the very well-known 200 period moving average, currently valid at, let's just call it $17.35. As far as areas of resistance, I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of these levels as they're kind of irrelevant right now. But in the near term, first key level of resistance, if there is any sort of attempted bounce, going to be right up there at $18.50. But yeah, overall, not a great way to end the week. Next one, ROKU, Roku, absolutely destroyed. In fact, I read one headline where this was the worst trading day ever in its history. But regardless, it's a very well-known stock. I think a lot of people will be watching it. I know I'll be watching it on Tuesday. So let's map out a couple key levels. And the first area that I'm just very curious about is, we'll give some credit where credit's due. The price did essentially show some signs of strength. after that morning session by just simply trending upwards. Now, just because I can draw this little miniature trend line does not mean that this is the bottom or anything like that, but it at least makes it plausible to think, okay, maybe the selling, maybe the downwards momentum is over. But that is a maybe because there are no guarantees. My point here is it's at least a plausible thought process to have. But that's also an area where a bunch of long shorts are going to be watching that level. And the shorts are going to be thinking, well, if the price comes down there and cracks through that level, that could just be the leading indicator of another wave of selling to the downside. And the longs are going to be watching it saying, well, it's bounced off this level a couple times before. So it comes down there, I think it might bounce off there again. Both people are being logical, but that's why risk management matters, because somebody's ultimately going to be right, somebody's going to ultimately be wrong. So there are no guarantees, but our job is to find areas where, okay, yeah, I don't know if I'm right, but at least I'm plausible to think this way, and that's why you got to manage that risk. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, key level to watch moving forward, going to be right there around, let's see, what is that? Yeah, let's just make it a little bit more clear. It's right around the $115 mark. But all in all, like I said, a lot of eyeballs I think will be watching this one next week, myself included. Next one, MTEK, sub $5 stock. I don't know if I've ever heard of this one, but when things make this sort of volume and that set of price movement, worth at least keeping an eye on if you like this sort of price range here. But let me squeeze things down just to make sure I'm not. Yeah, okay, there we go. So definitely the main level here, and we'll call it the self-fulfilling prophecy point that I think a lot of people are going to be watching, is that resistance area right there. By taking that area and that area, you can see it did a pretty good job of forecasting where some selling pressure might show up. So moral of the story here, right around, let's call it 255 is going to be that main area of resistance here headed into next week. If you like to play more so pullbacks, then an area here that's intriguing is there's this trend line right here that it's forming. So let me get that changed to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of things. So keep an eye on that if you like to play these pullbacks. And I'm sure some would disagree, and I don't blame them, because this is a very poor man's pattern here that I'm drawing. But somewhat of a bull pennant. But like I said, I'm willing to concede. Maybe I'm trying to fit a square peg through a round hole here. But regardless, that doesn't take away from the fact that this area of resistance seems to be the main breakout point, and that area of support is going to be important from the bullish side of things. Next one, KPTI, and I love this one just because it's a very, very big potential self-fulfilling prophecy. So in no way, shape, or form am I trying to impress you or imply that this is a great talent or that this is a great discovery. No. I assure you, a lot of people around the world have noticed this pattern. And again, that's what brings about the self-fulfilling prophecy. So let's just get this pattern drawn out. We have a breakout point at 1450. We have this area of support, give or take, right around there. So once more, I'll change that to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of things. And let's just make this all one color maybe to make it easier to see. So we have the resistance there. We have the support there. We have the momentum move right there. And let's put our golf hole down here for those of you more visual. This is a bull pennant pattern. Once again, a lot of people are going to be watching this bull pennant. So sure, doesn't guarantee anything, but it does make it more than valid to think that if the price can recover back up to that area and get the break up through 1450, that could create a whole nother surge of upwards buying pressure. So if you like to play this, bull pennant patterns in this price range, definitely have this one on your watch list. Next one, SOS, did this one a few days ago, and bring that up just because that's where this red line is coming from. And you can see I did a good job of forecasting that area of resistance. So you now know that there's going to be just that many more people paying attention to that trend lines, and you know where I'm going to head from there, talking point wise. So we have ourselves another potential self-fulfilling prophecy area right up here around, let's call it 96, 97 cents. So while nothing is guaranteed, more than plausible to think that if the price gets up to that area and can push up through it, that the break right there could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. But even now, just taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture point of view, we now have, just kind of confirmation that, the main overall indicator, as is, normally the case, is going to be that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. You can see pretty nasty pullback here, but price never went down below that moving average. Now that purple line's got a nice upward slope to it. So again, that's a moving average, meaning it's going to continue to move itself higher and higher, which is basically a trend line. I like to call moving averages trend lines for lazy people. So as long as the price stays above that quote-unquote trend line, then from the overarching standpoint, everything remains bullish. And again, from the resistance standpoint, if this overall trend is going to continue to build momentum, then it's going to have to clear that 96, 97 cent mark. Next one here, NRGV, and this is a very ugly looking chart. And for you longer time viewers, you know that I like to sometimes find these situations where I like to call them, there can be opportunity in the ugly, but there maybe isn't. Maybe it's ugly for a true reason and it's game over, which once more, that's why risk management matters. But point here being, this was a very volatile one, especially in pre-market, and has basically just pulled back. But like I said, what's interesting about this one is, let me get this in play, is we have this trend. Again, let me change that to green. But we have kind of a couple things that just happen to coincide, which makes it interesting. You have that trend line down here, but you also have the pink line, which is kind of hard to see because it's almost hiding behind the trend line. But the point being is you have two areas of support right there kind of stacked on top of one another, which sit right around $10.30, $10.20, right around there. And while that does not guarantee anything, once more, it's at least plausible, valid to think that if this thing gets a bit more ugly, comes down to that general area, there could very well be a bounce from that area. I mean, it's bounced from that trend line before. You have the 200-period moving average. So while that's not for sure going to happen, if you do like to play these situations where, you're buying when literally everybody else thinks it's end of the road, it's officially game over, sometimes especially from a risk-reward standpoint, those can be some very interesting scenarios. So we'll see if this ugly chart can get just a bit more uglier and see if that ultimately presents an opportunity. Next one here, AMD, which overall, I would say a nice day. And not just because, this afternoon, but really, in fact, let me just kind of zoom things out here to show that, okay, maybe, just maybe this thing has finally found some sort of bottom, because even going into today, this thing had a very nasty downwards trend to it. Again, that trend line was just right on the money. I mean, perfect. In fact, right there was a little perfect, and then that 30-minute candle finally broke up through it. Now, that doesn't, once again, guarantee anything, but my point here is we can now at least ask a question, which is a good question. Hey, is this the start of something bigger? Is this trend line break a signal that there's going to be more upside pressure? Now, that's a two-sided coin. It might not. It might just be a faulty breakout, and this thing just rolls back over next week. Completely possible. But it is also possible that, hey, well, maybe this actually is the start of something bigger, because at least, quote unquote, something has happened. And again, that happening is the break of that trend line right there. So sometimes, and actually in many cases, that's what a watch list is built upon. Just, okay, asking yourself questions. Scenarios have happened, and then you got to say, okay, this has happened. Now what? Is this, in this situation, the start of something bigger? Is that trend line break the leading indicator that this thing's going to pick up more momentum to the upside? We'll have to see what next week has to offer. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and yeah, very, very rough day. Talked about this yesterday a little bit, which price broke through that trend line. So I talked about, okay, is this a sign of more weakness to come? And yeah, that was definitely the leading indicator. A pretty faulty move this morning. I mean, it gapped up, acted like it wanted to be strong, and then just completely collapsed. So updates here need to be made. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of both these levels as they serve their purpose. But what I'm very curious about next week now is this area of support right here. At, what is that? Yeah, $840. Not exactly, but close to, generally speaking, that gap close location there. And again, not perfect, but generally speaking, I mean, we're talking about an $800 stock here. So a few dollars here or there is okay. But $840, in my mind, is going to be a very important level of support. And I think there's going to be a lot of shorts watching that level. Also, a lot of longs. You're going to have the shorts once again thinking, well, if that level falls, this thing could get down here to right around the 810 mark. But the longs are going to be thinking, well, I don't know, the thing could bounce off that level. Once more, like I said in a previous chart, both people are being plausible. Both people are being logical thinkers, but somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong. And that is why, say it with me, risk management matters. So let me zoom back in here, as that's the key area of support. And then resistance-wise, main area to keep an eye on if Tesla does try to recover back upwards, going to be right here at $865. And then you have these moving averages here, but those are probably a little irrelevant right now given how far off they are. But I think, in my opinion, the most watched level next week, at least early next week, will be that $840 mark. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, February 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to run the scans, put the watch list together, then please help me out by doing two easy things. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, let me know what you're watching for next week, let me know what you traded today. But those two things, hitting the like button, leaving a simple comment, communicate to me that, okay, yeah, people are enjoying, and as long as I know people are enjoying, I'll continue to do these videos. So I thank you in advance for that. Again, if you want to learn more about charts and how to use these as a trader to manage risk, to build consistency, then definitely get signed up for that free class. Everybody take care and have a fun, long weekend. Because remember, once more, the markets are closed on Monday.